Can you please give the feedback of my audio, Arushi?
I can hear you, sir. It's clear.
All right, all right. So, when should we start exactly?
Sir, I'll give a small introduction and then we can start.
Okay, please take 2 minutes and then introduce. So let others join, let everyone join. And
Okay.
can I share the link of this session with my people, or it is for only this community?
Sir, it's actually for our group, this meeting link, but
It's
it's
fine,
being
no problem, no problem.
streamed live on YouTube.
Arushi, we are live.
Okay. Good, eve- Good evening, everyone. I'm Arushi Srikumar.
Good evening. Yes. Carry on, carry on.
I welcome you all to the inaugural event of our club, Apostrophe. It's the oratory club of the Corbett House. The steps that we take don't have to be big, they have to be in the right direction. And this meeting and the YouTube live today marks the great beginning of a journey that we're about to embark on. And I remember when we were recruiting members, the biggest concern that people shared with us, something that they wanted to learn from our club, was public speaking. Public speaking is a fear that most of us share, whether it be social anxiety or just the fear of our language being not perfect. So today we have with us Nishant Jindal, who's an alumni of IIT Delhi. He's a author of 2 best-selling books. He's really skilled in business development, marketing, entrepreneurship, and English language. Today he's here with us to share his expertise on public speaking. Sir, over to you.
So, all right. I would request everyone to turn on their videos because otherwise it doesn't look like lively. Please, everyone, turn on their videos. At least those who can. Let us see each other's faces because much of communication happens through just the face. It's the words carry only the 8% of the message. The rest, almost 40%, is carried by our voice and the intonation, etc. And the rest of the message, like the rest 50% of the message, is just in physical presence. Right? Very good, Abhigyan. Very good. What about Yash, Vaidehi, Ayush, Swati, and everyone? Ratna, Robin, Sheetal, Tejas, Shekhar. Please turn your camera on. If due to some particular reason you cannot turn it on, please let me know in the comments. But it is necessary. I want to know. I want to know your feedback and how your faces are when I say a particular thing, and that really makes me feel like I'm talking to humans and not just my laptop. Okay. Network issue. Fine, fine, Akansha. And what about Puja? Okay, Puja has begun. Swati and the rest. Okay. So I would like to know about you people first. So I was told that I should take this session in English because many people here do not, cannot comprehend Hindi. Hindi is my mother tongue, by the way. So I would like to know about like which district and which state do you belong to. So first I begin with getting introduced. Getting introduced by my audience. So please introduce everyone. Introduce yourself, everyone.
Good
In the
evening,
comments.
sir.
In the
In
comments.
the
Yes.
comments? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Just let me know your name, the district, and the state. And also, like, if I am right, can you let me know, Arushi, whether this is the first year, these are the first year students of IIT Madras BSc program, right? Am I right?
Is the format here is a bit different. We all are in different levels right now. We are divided into terms.
Okay. All right. All right. So there is a Pooja from Pithoragarh, Uttarakhand, Odisha. So belong करती है. Good. Okay. Okay. And Akansha is from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Swati from Odisha. Tejas from Mysuru, Karnataka. And Suhas from Mysore. Pankura. Is it how it is pronounced? Nageshwar Mitkar from Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Okay, and can you tell me like your mother tongue? I would like to know your mother tongue because I have a very keen interest in languages. So I want to see how diverse people are here. So someone is Marathi, it's Nageshwar. Kannada, Kannada Tejas as well, and Suhas. Hindi and Odia, dual mother tongue. Good. Abhigyan, Bengali, Balo. Swati Priyadarshini, mine is Odia. Okay. Great. So, okay. So, coming to the thing. So, you all are a part of Oratory Club, right? So, and as far as I know, it has just begun, and in fact, it is the inauguration. So, could you please let me know what made you take Oratory Club? What made you choose it? I want to see what are your ambitions and expectations from Oratory Club and uh, especially this session. This way I will be able to customize it according to you because it is a long session. So I thought I do not need to, like I can do it exactly according to you instead of, bringing exactly from what I feel. All right. I love to speak and I want to be better at it. Better at it. Okay. I love to speak. Noida, UP, language Hindi. Great. And what about the rest of the people? Why did you join oratory? So is there someone who thought that they might as well get rid of their stage fear by joining this club? Please let me know in the comments. I'm actively looking at them. Please let me know. Okay, Vaidehi. So Vaidehi, could you please elaborate? I have stage fear and I get nervous when I get a chance to speak. To overcome this, I have joined the oratory club. Okay, all right. So, first of all, I would like you to know that oratory is not, something like someone. It's not restricted to language. It is an art independent of language. So, someone is a good orator in German or Punjabi or Bengali or Odia or Kannada, he is a good orator. Doesn't necessarily need to be in English. But English proficiency, and whichever language you speak in, you should have a proficiency over that. Otherwise, you lose much of your skill just because you're not proficient in the language. In fact, to tell you the truth, I'll be very honest. English is not my mother tongue. I have very lately learned it. Like not even 2 years have passed since I have made fluent my English. So I'm not as much comfortable in it as I am in Hindi. But anyway, this is the only means. So the very first thing, most of the times, like you people are college students, and you are aiming to get that confidence and maybe learning an impactful manner of getting yourself across. So I imagine that the situations that you are preparing yourself for are maybe a presentation in front of your, at your workplace, or maybe a lecture, or maybe some answer to a question in a lecture. Sometimes that as well is something we hesitate from. And uh, what else? Maybe anchoring, maybe hosting an event, maybe going to the stage and expressing ourselves just like that. So let me tell you about myself. I am Nishant Jindal, and I started my thing of this oratory. I wouldn't say oratory, but just speaking. Uh, Back in 2018, I was forced by the circumstances to come to YouTube because at that time in my field, I am basically a JE mentor and I guide people for JE. So that is one of the things that I do. So, so I came to YouTube and started expressing myself. So I just did it candidly. Okay, like I would speak in such a language. Hello friends, मैं हूँ निशांत जिंदल और आज मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि हम जैसे बेहतर तरीका क्या है थ्योरी पढ़ने का. So this was in fact now it has got refined, but earlier it was too candid. So then came a time when I thought I should work on my public speaking. So I started speaking after some great authors or some great speakers. Can you list down some, like, if you know anyone, any uh, public speaker, any all-time best public speaker you think someone, please write someone's name. As in, okay, Sadhguru, great. You mean Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev? Okay. And who else? Okay, Aman Dhattarwal. Great. You think he's a great speaker? He indeed is. Pooja says. And who else? Nishant Bhaiya. Okay. Rajiv Dikshit. Okay. Dhananjay. Okay. Shashi Tharoor. Sandeep Maheshwari. Okay. Okay. And what about, look, if you would ask me, I would take the names of, like, these people are also great speakers and you can learn from them as well. The method is the same. So what happens is you have to learn according to your audience. So what I did was I went and I make use of stories to get my ideas across. So I will tell you one thing that there was a time when like I wanted to improve my public speaking, and I went to Google and searched who are the best all-time public speakers, and I got to know that the names of Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, and Martin Luther King, and all these people. And then slowly I started emulating them. Like there was a speech. Has anyone heard the speech "I have a dream"? Anyone? Yes, Suhas has heard that, right? So it begins like, I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. And is tarah. So these speeches, I started emulating them. You know what I used to do in the morning? I would go to the park and I would, while walking on the track, I would turn the speech on and put it on my headphones and I would walk and keep on listening this. Not only I used to listen this, but I used to repeat after them. And that is why now it is like just on my tips. Then he says, 5 score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, and so on. So I understood, and then I started speaking in that manner, and that became one of the ways that I speak in. So now this was one story. I will cover some portions. One thing is just a second, just a second. Okay. One thing is command on language. So I am sure that most of you must be looking forward to improving their English first, right? Like who's there who considers that they need to work a lot on their English? Please let me know. Please communicate with me in the comments. Otherwise, you'll get bored and I will get bored as well. Okay, Ayush, Pooja, great. And no one else? Please participate because otherwise, it will get boring for everyone. And I don't want it to be like that. It, okay, fine. So, okay, Shivansh and Raju and Swati and Sheetal. Okay. I will tell you one thing. So, I like most of us. I belong to a lower middle class family in Delhi. So, my father came from a village in Haryana, and naturally, he did not speak English. And in fact, yeah, we didn't get to study much in school, so no one in my family spoke English. So, and that is but he admitted me to an English medium school, and so I grew up in a manner, and I am sure that it would resonate with you, that I grew up in a manner that I could understand English because that was the way I was taught. But I could not speak English because hardly anyone in my peers or at my family spoke English. So and that is why I could not speak in English and never got good at it. So and like I reached a stage where I was reading Abraham Lincoln's autobiography, or not autobiography, just biography, and I realized that he like that book was too difficult for me to read, and a thought came to my mind that if this book is meant for reading and meant for reading by humans and not aliens, and if I am I am trying to read it and I'm not able to comprehend these words, on every page there are more than 10 to 12 words which I cannot comprehend, which I do not know the meaning of. So like what purpose, like how can I even say that I know English? And then I kind of took this pledge that I will first improve my vocabulary to a great extent, and then only I will return to this book and complete it. So from that point forward, I did tens of books. I got all the words by heart and made my vocabulary quite vast. And in all this process, I read many other books as well. And I forgot about that book, the book that I started from. Because it took months. Actually, the thing was, it was the time when lockdown was suddenly imposed, and no one had anticipated that it will go on for so long. Like, I thought that it will go on for 15 days. I will use that time in improving my vocabulary. But those 15 days became months, and those months became 4, 5, 6 months. And my English improvement went on. And finally, I had a vast vocabulary. And later on, when I came to that book, I saw that all the words, all those words, now were known to me. So, and I could fluently read that book. So that was the time when I worked on my vocabulary. Look, if you have a good command, now lately, if you look at my YouTube channel, I have started speaking in pure Hindi. I make use of the most Sanskritized words in Hindi, not even Persian, not even English. Only when it is necessary, I bring in English or Persian words, but it is totally Sanskritized Hindi. So this is another challenge for me because, and I tell you this, that if you use uh, right words, like 90% of the task is done. Just the choice of right words. So, for example, um, uh, like a girl came to me in a session. It was an interactive session, one to many. So she said that I feel like I have done wrong. I'm not a good daughter, that I did not listen to my parents, and so on, so on and so forth. So like what she was saying was somewhat true, but not as much as she had exaggerated it to be. And she believed that exaggerated version of her narration. So I told her that really you are a true disgrace. I wish no one gets a daughter like you, and and no parents get to see such a day with their daughter. And then she said, no, it's not the thing. I'm not that bad. And the thing that I wanted to inspire in her mind automatically got inspired. So this is how I use my words. Sometimes there are other things, like you're using English language. So the very first thing is you should know your audience. So initially I was as such that I made use of difficult words, some words that might not be known to many people. And that was my mistake. I then thought that I should use the words that I think my audience knows. And from that point forward, what happens is when I talk to my father, I speak in that Sanskritized Hindi. When I talk to my, maybe my peers, I use English. And when I talk to, when I'm talking to you, I have to use English. So in this manner, I switch my language. My language is switched according to the person I'm talking to. When I am at a gurdwara, I speak in Punjabi. So the command on language is necessary, and half the job is done. Now coming to the stage fear thing, okay, and you can ask me questions about this, like language mastery, because I have even written a book, The Grandiloquent Indian, just about this topic, that how you can improve your language. And it is specifically for English, but the principles that are told in that book are for, like, can be applied to any language. So I was coming to the stage fear thing. So I'll tell you this, that the stage fear actually comes, it has very deep roots in us. How? Look, imagine yourself to be a hunter, because earlier our forefathers used to be hunters and gatherers. And let us say there are too many eyes on you, too many people are seeing you. So what does it mean? It means a threat. It means a threat to life. And in that case, and for any animal, any living being, the very first thing is survival. The most powerful and most crucial thing is survival. Because if it were not, that species would get extinct, right? So survival is the most important thing. And therefore, when there are too many eyes on you, your survival instinct gets into action. And what it does is it pumps your blood fast, it pumps your heart fast, it makes your breathing shallow and fast. And these are the conditions that facilitate running. Bhag, run. So that is the issue. So that is what happens when there are too many eyes at you. So now for this again, I will make use of a story, that how you can get rid of the stage fear, etc. Look, first of all, when you are on the stage, don't think that you are superior to someone or inferior to someone, or that you don't deserve to be there, or that you deserve to be there, or like it is just that you are one among us. Like I am one among you. Do I become superior to you if I speak in front of you, or inferior? Nope. And am I allowed to make mistakes? Yes, because I am a human. I am one among you, and like just I just came to the stage to express myself, and that's all. I am not here to make an impact. I'm not here to show that how great an orator I am. No, this is not my thing. I tell you this, I used to do kirtan. You understand what kirtan is, everyone? Kirtan is singing the devotional songs, the act of singing devotional songs. So I used to do kirtan at gurdwara. And what happened was, earlier I was conscious because I had newly started doing kirtan. What would these people think of me? And I got very self-conscious when I made a mistake, because we are bound to mistakes as humans. So then I got very conscious. Sometimes my throat would get dried. These things, I'm sure that you can relate with such things, throat getting dried, or you're thinking what's gonna happen next, and in that fear, you mess up the rest of the speech or song or whatever performance you're there for. But there came a time when I got, like you can say, somewhat matured, that I thought that, look, I'm not here for impressing people. I'm not here to show everyone how good I sing. I'm not here to show everyone how devoted I am. I'm here for devotion. I'm here for God. That God is here, I am here, I'm singing His praises, and that is my purpose. So let's focus on God, let's have devotion in our hearts, and just sing. And from that point forward, my performances have been better than ever before. So when you go to the stage, you don't think of trying, you do try to create humor, you do try to create an impact, you do try to make people interested, you do try to, uh, influence people, that is fine. But more than that, you make yourself understand that you are there to express something, one among all these humans who just went on the stage and using that platform to express himself. Don't make it bigger than that or smaller than that. So how has it been so far? Can I get to know from you what has been your takeaway so far in this session? Please let me know. And anything you want to ask me, please comment. I am a person quite hungry and thirsty for feedbacks. I really like to know how people are interpreting or understanding what I am trying to express? How did you work on your vocab? Okay, I will write this question down because it will come somewhat later. Vocab thing, okay. Pooja has asked it. Any other question or feedback or something? I like your inputs on self-nurturing rather than self-judging. Okay, can you please elaborate on that because I did not get exactly what do you mean by self-nurturing and self-judging. Do you think low of me? Just I want you to know because you know at this moment I am the orator, I am on the stage. So do you think do you look down upon me when I make a mistake? W- just let me know because this will give rise to an insight. If with your answer will rise an insight. Do you look down upon me when I make a mistake? No. Then how do you think others will look down upon you when you make a mistake? You are on the stage. It's fine. We are all humans, sisters and brothers of destiny. So we might make mistakes. It's fine. And that's what I want you to know. That when you are on the stage, a little bit of jitteriness is fine. It's normal, and that will get managed with constant practice and practice not just in front of the mirror, but also real practice, like real. This session is not a rehearsal, right? It's a real session. I am presenting, I am giving a talk here. So such things are kind of things that are making me better as an orator. Okay, so these real sessions where there are real stakes, because unless there are stakes, you're not going to get jittery. Here I have this because look, I tell you this. How old are you? If you don't mind sharing, how old are you, everyone? 19, 19, 21, 20, right? And how old you think I am? I tell you a trick that when someone asks, when someone tells you to guess their age, you just quote a very less number so that they don't get offended anyway. So I am just 22, just so you know. It's fine. Hmm. Okay. So I am a learner as well, but yes, I have been through where you are. So Pooja has asked me a question about vocabulary, and I will also cover one thing about English fluency. But more than that, let us be, because we will get distracted in the language and vocabulary thing. I don't want it to be restricted to there. These points will come later. Let us talk more about public speaking. Have you been to a stage like once or twice? How many times you have been to a stage and addressed more than 30 people? Please let me know. Many times, Pooja. Okay, like still, like how many times? Pratik, many times, 4 to 5 times. So can anyone share their mess up stories? Like directly, please open your, please unmute yourself and tell us how you messed it up. Like even a little. Please come, Pooja. Please unmute yourself. We are eager to hear you.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, sir, what actually happened? I was in class fourth, and for the very first time, I was speaking in front of so many people. Like in the when I was in LKG, UKG, and nursery, we had very few people in our school, like 40. But that day, I was speaking in front of around 1,500 people, and I had to say the pledge. Do you know pledge? School pledge we do. So I had to say
I will
that.
not throw litter on the ground and so on.
No, what happened? Uh, I knew it very well. It was by hearted, like very well. But as soon as I went to the stage, my knees started I started
Shivering.
shivering, and I forgot the whole entire pledge. And after that, I thought that why this happened. I knew it very well. So why this happened? One more story I would like to say is when I was in class 8, I went for an inter school debate competition. So in the school level, I got selected because I spoke really well. But when I went to the inter school competition, what actually happened when I saw that many people were speaking very well, like the English was very fluent, and I thought I am not as good as them. So what I did, I just entirely read out the page that I took with me. So I just messed it up completely.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
That's what somewhat happens. Your mind goes totally blank. You think you cannot compete with them, and then like, but you have to perform. You're forced to perform because you have no other option. So what you do is you just speak whatever you do, whatever you can, and it really becomes a big drama. I know this. I have been there, done that. Hmm. And anyone else? Okay, some people have asked some questions. So, do you have to work on English expression? So, what do you mean by English expression? Expression as in like facial expressions or what? How long it takes to improve vocab and be fluent? Okay, I will come to vocabulary a bit later. Like, just wait for 5 minutes and we will then come to English and vocabulary. But let us discuss more. So, Pooja made some points that, she went to the stage and she started shivering and she thought, uh, at one time she thought that, she is not as good at English as her competitors, and that made her like feel why she is even there. So these things are natural, and everyone does go through them. What I believe is that even if your English is great, even if your English is not that great, but you can work on some other parts. Maybe look, if you ask me what my strength is, my English is fine. Okay? And I am sure that a few years down the line it will become totally fluent. Uh, because it has just been 2 years since I have improved my English so much. But yes, it takes time to improve, to be fluent in a language. It takes time, and I am patient about that. So I was coming to the point that, um, sorry, where was I? Can you please let me know? It sometimes happens. What point I was making? No one?
English expressions and languages.
English expression. Okay. So expression. I was asking what do you mean by expression? So that was one thing, but I am talking about something else. Anyway, I'll come to the vocabulary part a while later. So all these things, that jitteriness and all are there, and they are going to be there. But you have to. I was talking about my strengths. So if you ask my strengths, English is not my strength. It is my, like, I am average at English, to tell you the truth. But my thing is emotions. So I understand emotions better. And to be an influencer, to what happens is, especially with us engineers, is that we always think in logic and absolutes. And sometimes we always, like, as a salesman, when I am a salesman, so when we go and sell some product to people, what happens is they, even if the product is quite useful to them, even if the product is the best in the market, they just don't understand its value. And sometimes they buy a product which is not as useful, but maybe in peer pressure, or maybe in some wrong notion that they keep in their hearts. So, and then we call, like, how stupid people are. But people are how they are, and we cannot call them stupid. So what happens is that it is up to us how we express ourselves. It is up to us how we understand their emotions. So if we understand their emotions well, then and only then, it's not just about making the right point. Sometimes what happens. Like, there was my friend. Let's not take his name. Let's call him Rahul. Okay. So Rahul always told me that he always speaks the truth. He said that he said to his cousin, "Tu moti hai," okay, and she got offended. He, like, "Tu moti hai means you're fat." And then he said to someone, "कि तेरे marks तो यार काफी कम आए हैं. You have got two less marks." So he just made these candid comments. So now everyone knows that their marks are less. So what is the thing about being sad about this? So he asked me. So the thing is that even if you're speaking the truth, you might sound like rude or sometimes insane. Okay, please, everyone has turned their cameras off. Please turn them on. I feel like I'm alone here. Okay, कहाँ पे थे? So, Rahul told me that that he is speaking the truth. Then why do people get offended? Okay. So it is the thing, you look insane when you don't understand what impact do your words create. It is not just about speaking the right thing. It is about speaking it in the right manner. And for that, you need to understand who your audience is. Okay, and once you understand it, then you and don't try to change their perspective. You cannot change a person completely by one speech or something. But what you can do is you give regard to their beliefs and only focus on that one point that you're trying to make, and just try to make that belief conform to the notions that those people keep. So this manner has been always effective for me as a salesman and as an orator. So I will also tell you some exercises to do, which will help you become a good speaker with time. But yes, I will. Let me just write. I will talk about exercises. But before that, let us talk more about public speaking, etc. So, um, turning off delivering our ideas. Tuning. Okay, you mean tuning, as in like intonation. Sometimes we slow ourselves down. Sometimes we pause in the midst. Is it what you mean? Sometimes we, start shouting. Sometimes we just make a very soft remark. So, is it what you mean, Dinesh? Intonation, basically. Okay, intonation. Yes, so that is one thing. Uh, what happens is, I tell you this. So, there is one thing called as cliffhanger. I will write its spelling in the comments. Please take a look at it. Cliffhanger. So it is a thing most artists, authors, uh, script writers, serial writers, they make use of. Now, what is a cliffhanger? Have you ever seen those soap operas in which in the end a person is going to hang himself, and there is a stool below his feet, and someone is driving a car and he is trying to reach there as fast as possible, and now we are worrying whether he will be able to reach that place in time or not, and we are worried whether he will hang himself to death or not. So we are worried, and right at that point, they will end that episode, and then you have to wait for the next day to come there, right? So have you ever noticed that? And I tell you this, that everyone does it. And if they did not do it, the audience would not be that much interested in the content, in that series, in that serial, anything. You have to keep them hanging. You have to keep the suspense on, and that's what they like. It's not like deceiving or manipulating someone. It's an art. It's a way of you know. It's a way of keeping people hooked, and they like to be hooked. They would rather be listen to an orator. They would rather listen to an orator that keeps them hooked, and then tells them, then imparts his wisdom to them, and not just a wise person who fails to hook them. So how was that? Like how? Can you please tell it to me in your words what you understood from this cliffhanger thing? After this, we will come to English and intonation thing. Okay, I will come to intonation as well. I'm waiting for your comments.
Cliffhanger basically is when they leave
Yes.
off on some sort of a mystery or
Yes, some unsolved problem you can
yeah,
say.
they did not finish what was going to happen. They leave it in between
Right.
with 2 or 3 possibilities.
Right, and that is the reason people start with questions sometimes, or people start with and this extreme example, when I like, who all got interested when I started speaking in like this line, that there is a person who is hanging himself, and there is a stool below his feet, and there is a person driving a car, and we are afraid whether he will reach there on time or not. So this is a very extreme example and something that keeps people hooked. So you can always make use of such examples, such stories, and basically there is a science behind Saas Bahu serials. Amazing, thanks. Rishikesh. Okay, so now coming to the intonation thing. Uh, Look what happens. I will tell you. There are people who speak very fast. They want to convey. Sometimes when we go to the stage, they feel that we are not worthy of so many people's time. There are a lot many people are listening to us, and therefore we should try to speak it as fast as possible, so as to end our speech in the minimum possible time. And just let me render the speech, because the people who are listening to me are perfection, and no matter at which speed I speak, they will comprehend. So just let me render whatever I have to speak, and then I will move out of the stage. So do not think in this manner. They are there to listen to you. And if you are composed, if you keep your composure on the stage, and the confidence thing is about being comfortable. Comfort is equal to confidence. I have seen, if you look at me, if I am comfortable, you will think I am confident. If I am uncomfortable, you will think I'm not confident. That is the thing about confidence. So now, when you go to the stage, you understand that people are there to listen to you. Naturally, right in the beginning, you have their attention. Do I have your attention? Everyone in the beginning gives you the attention. But yes, it is your duty to keep everyone hooked till the end. It is your duty to keep them, to keep them uh, in suspense, so that they always long to listen more. What comes next? When you end, like when you begin a story, let us say now that the man hanging himself thing. Now that event has got solved. Now another thing, someone is just going to slit his arm, you know, slit his wrist. So again, someone is trying to reach there. His wife is maybe knocking the door, and the episode gets ended there. So again, you are hooked. So I'm just giving you extreme examples so as to make my point. But I hope you get it, that you just keep them hooked. When one mystery gets solved, just you know throw one more mystery, and this way you just keep everyone hooked and in suspense. And that is the reason we do binge watching. When one episode gets over, we are tempted to open the next episode, and we go on and on and on. So this is how it happens. Okay. Now coming to the intonation thing. So there is an intonation thing, I'll tell you. Uh, we call it late night FM DJ voice. So if you look at the way I am speaking right at this moment, it is a sound. It sounds like the voice of some authority, something that is changeless, something that cannot be challenged, something coming from someone in authority, and it is definitely absolute truth. So when you speak in such a uh, what we say in a low pitch and in a slow voice, in a slow at a slow pace, you really look like a person who's speaking from authority. Slowly, you get accustomed to switching your tones. So sometimes you really want to express authority. Sometimes you really want to express confusion. Sometimes you want to look like friendly, and all of these things should be visible from your tone. So how we can get that? I'll tell you. What I used to do was that I told you that when I went on to walk, I used to listen to these great speakers and their speeches, and I spoke after them. And I also watched their videos, how they move their hands, and I just mimicked them. And after a time, like I started speaking like them, but after a point, it all faded out, and I was left with that confidence. and then I started speaking in my own manner, and I respect the way I speak. And it is like if it is effective in conveying my messages, it is fine enough. I would say that I am a great orator in Hindi, but English is not my mother tongue, so my skills wouldn't come as good. Now coming to English language. Before going to English language, I would like to know if you have any questions and what have been your takeaways so far. Uh, Raju, yes, you can turn your mic on. Fine.
My question may not be that relevant to the topic, but still I want to ask it.
Sure.
My question is: suppose I am having a call with a person from, you can say, from America, or from any other countries. So while talking to people who are from different countries, conveying my message is always a problem. So, and it is also sometimes problematic to understand their, you can say, their dialects. So what are your suggestions for these things, these
Okay.
conversations?
Okay, please be on the call. So to be able to understand their dialects, for example, there is a Birmingham accent in England, which is difficult to understand. American accent is comprehensible, and there are things in the British accent which are incomprehensible. There are some things in the American accent as well, which can be difficult to understand. So what you can do is you listen to varied accents. When you watch web series, movies, you watch different sorts of them. Like for Birmingham accent, you can look at Peaky Blinders. Instead of Monday, they speak it in a somewhat like Monday. So and in like manner. So that their accent is different, and when they speak it in flow, it really becomes difficult to understand. My instead of saying my, they say me. Instead of speaking myself, they say myself. So this is North England, and there are many other such accents and slangs and whatnot. So you should listen to web series and all. You should listen to candid conversations. You should listen to speeches of like I listen to parliamentary debates of these countries like England, Australia. So in these debates, people are from different states of that place, that country, and all those people then bring their accent, and then we realize how much diversity there is in English language, and our accent as well has credence, has approval of everyone, and so on and so forth. So you become like you get accustomed to that sort of accent. What you can do is you can turn on the subtitles while you watch these series and try to understand it without the subtitles. But if you're not able to, then you look at the subtitles but keep listening as well. Slowly what will happen is you're looking at the subtitle and you're listening to the words, so those two things will start forming links, and this way you will become like you will become accustomed to that particular accent. So, and there are not too many accents. Like if you do solve this problem for 2 3 accents, then in total you can understand it. And it is, look, it is nothing to be embarrassed about. Look, you are an Indian. You are not obliged to know all the accents of English, all the dialects of English. And if you're not able to understand English, I guess you are worthy of death. So it is not the thing, right? So it is just that be confident in whatever way you speak, and if they ask for reiteration, if they ask you to repeat it again, try to do it in other words so that they can understand. And what you can do is international conversation, international communication always is difficult. So what you can do is you can rephrase in your words what you understood from them, and ask them to rephrase what they understood from your speech. So that this can be done. Anyway, it is difficult, and please do not ever feel uh, inferior about that. Raju, does that help?
Yeah. Also, I would like to know that as you mentioned that we have to maintain a, you can say, a medium pace while talking, so that the listener may feel that we are comfortable with speaking. Besides that, what should specific this case specifically, when we are talking to a foreigner, do we need to have some type of modulation in voice? so that they can.
We always need to have modulation in voice, like whether we are speaking Hindi, English, no matter. We should have modulation in voice. So and this modulation comes with experience. You try to do things. You try to modulate your voice. You try to vary the pace and pitch, and you just try it. You see others doing it, and slowly you will inculcate a way, your own way in which you do it, and you become impactful. So this is how it happens. Just watch others doing this. Notice their intonations, their pace at key moments, how they pause sometimes. Sometimes I'm just going to make a point and I just stop speaking. Then people wonder why I stopped in the midst. So these are the things that you can do. So be playful somewhat, and this stage will come where if you practice more and more and more. Okay. Now, anything else before we go to the English language thing? Okay, the English language thing, then I'm coming to it. You can ask your questions later. Okay. So, what I did to improve my English language? Look, language is a thing to be learned, and it is just a skill. And if you were born in England or some other English speaking country, you would be speaking it by default. But fine, you were born in your at your place, and you speak the local language of there. So as a child, if you could speak your native tongue, whatever it may be, like for me it was Hindi, for someone it could be Kannada. So if you could speak that as a child who doesn't even have a fully developed brain in 4 or 5 years, then as an adult, grown up adult, if you keep yourself immersed in that language, for example, English, you can learn it like in 6 7 months, basic fluency, and within a few years you will have like flawless fluency, flawless not only fluency, but in fact an expert command. Are you able to get this? So let's not rush towards having a great English. Just let's immerse ourselves. So what are the ways that we can keep ourselves immersed in English? So look, all your lectures that happen at your university, or most of the TED talks that you watch, or other speeches, or movies, web series, most of them are in English. Okay, so you are surrounded with English. What I want you to notice is the skeletons of the sentences that they use. Let me give you an example. Like I always make use of this metaphor, and the book that I wrote and Ratna helped me write that. So Ratna knows this example that when a lion eats his prey like a deer, he eats all the flesh but leaves behind the skeleton, right? In like manner, when human beings talk to someone, they listen to someone's message, they take in the message but ignore the skeleton of the language used. Are you able to comprehend this metaphor? So we ignore the language. Please comment. Arushi, can you please let me know how much time do we have?
Sir, you can go on. There is no strict time limit on this.
All right, all right. Please comment. Please comment what you're feeling. I asked something. Being understood is more important than being flowery. Very good, very good. Being understood is more important than being flowery. However, if you are flowery, if you have that, that I would say, uh, eloquent language, you can you can really make impact, but bring that at the right moments. Don't just overload people of it. Like I like kadai paneer only sometimes. If kadai paneer is served to me daily, it will become a cliche, and I would rather stay away from it and may start hating it. So it is like kadai paneer, not like a daily dish. So bring that floweriness and learn and see other people. You know what artists always have done? This is an art as well. So what artists always do is like, if you look at the authors, many of the authors in India, like if you look at Bahubali, don't you think somewhat it is inspired from some events of Mahabharata? Did you ever get this thought that that same strife between two brothers, one was disabled in some manner, one had like Dhritarashtra was blind. However, in this case, he had this his a problem in his hand. So these stories somewhat aren't they inspired by Mahabharata or Ramayana? So this is what artists all the time have done. This is not plagiarism exactly, but it is basically disruption of the previous artworks. They disrupt it and they create something new, which is inspired from the previous texts. So the same thing is you can do as well. So you see what flowery things other orators are doing, what metaphors, what rhetoric devices they are making use of. Okay, like I in my book, The Grandiloquent Indian, I have deconstructed the speech of Abraham Lincoln. Like to give you a few examples, like he said, uh, we have come to dedicate a portion of this field as a final resting place for those and so on. As a final resting place. Now, what do you think final resting place means? What do you think final resting place means? Graveyard, exactly. Grave. So it was Rishikesh, right? So graveyard, Kabristan. It looks like something not so fancy to hear, but he said final resting place, and he elevated the weight of his words just by just this change of words. So you can always learn from these master orators. Okay, another example. He said that. Uh, And one thing, like in the beginning of that speech, the speech is one of the greatest speeches, of English language. The name is Gettysburg Address. So what he did in the first line was that he said that four score years ago. Now this is like I will do it. I will do it. Four score years ago, the speech starts like this. Now let me tell you the context. So basically, it is the time of civil war in America, and there is a ground called as Gettysburg, and Abraham Lincoln is basically addressing the people, and he says that four score years ago. Now, what does four score mean? Can you tell me? Four score. Four score. A score means 20. Four score means 80. So four score and 7 years ago, it means 87. So why did he not just say 87? And why did he make use of this four score thing, four score and seven? So I thought of this, and when I looked at some papers that were published about this, I understood that he basically wanted to link it to Bible. That Bible says that three score and ten is the age of a man, something like that. So three score and ten means 70. So when he says that four score and seven, maybe he wants to say that America has so far lived more than the life of a person. So maybe that elevates this thing, and then he says that let me type it for you. Uh, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation. It is fine. Our fathers mean the forefathers, the founding fathers of America. Okay. Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Just this line. Let me write it. Conceived in liberty and dedicated to the propo dedicated is reader to the proposition that all men are. Now, look at this. He said that a new nation conceived in liberty. So, what does conceived in liberty mean? Someone please unmute yourself and tell us what does conceived in liberty mean? A new nation conceived in liberty. No one? Please come forward. Abhigan?
Basically like created with the ideas of liberty.
Liberty, very good. And then he said that, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, I thought, couldn't he just write conceived in liberty and equality? Would have been an equivalent statement, right? So then comes this question, why? Why he wanted to include this quote, all men are created equal. So because it is in their Declaration of Independence. He wanted people, the listeners, he wanted to remind them that it is written in our Declaration of Independence, that these words. And the same words were used by Martin Luther King in a speech 100 years later from this speech. He said that we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. So again, this phrase was used again. So they want everyone to they want to remind everyone of all the events on which this phrase has been used, and the significance of this phrase is too much for America. And later on, he says that this nation under God, this nation under God. So I thought, okay, under God is a big thing. Prabhu ke adheen hai desh hai. It is under God. But then I again realized that this is in their, another, it is also in their constitution somewhere that they call this nation under God. So all of these things, we can learn from them. Why he made use of a particular metaphor, a particular rhetoric device. And so does Martin Luther King. I tell you this, like I'm typing some speeches here, as in the names of the speeches. Please take a screenshot and go take a look at them and see, the how deeply rhetorical they are. Gettysburg Address. One is Gettysburg. I don't know why am I not in. Second is I have a dream. These two speeches are sufficient. Like we just go and see. And the I have a dream. It has so many metaphors. Like he says that I have a dream that one day sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners will be able to sit together on a table of brotherhood, like that. So these are the rhetorical devices they use. And after a point, you reach a stage where whether you use rhetorical devices or not, you are so much at ease. You are so much at ease. You just keep speaking. The rhetorical devices come by themselves. Even if they don't come, there are so many attributes. There are so many qualities in the way you speak that just people want to listen on and on and on. So you reach such a stage. So try to inculcate these qualities one by one. Now I am coming to the English thing. So this is the last time I'm asking you for a feedback before we move to English. So let me know what have been your takeaways so far. Any other new takeaway? Anything that inspired you? Anything that moved you? And did that all make sense? The thing that I was talking about, Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln, etc. The point I tried to make, why didn't he just write equality, and why he wrote this whole phrase, and then four score, why he used that word score, and all. Yes, please, Rishikesh.
Like my statement may sound a little controversial,
Sure.
in the sense that considering that rhetorical devices are overused by politicians. Obviously, I mean they work, which is why they use it, right? And it's overused by politicians to connect to large audiences. That sometimes maybe plain speak works better because you are seen as more honest, more direct. Yeah, in that context, I mean.
So yes, actually, it can be a mix of that. So sometimes you can just be plain that as well. If you're a playful orator, when you are plain as well, that looks oratory too, and more like when politicians they make use of rhetorical devices. So it is a sword basically. Sword can be used to protect and to cause tyranny as well. So it is a sword anyway. So the rhetorics and rhetorical devices. So when I make use of a metaphor, metaphors are very powerful. Like we can draw a picture, we can draw an analogy, and people can really digest that image. Like if you look at Jesus, he always, you made use of parables, and those parables were about sheep, shepherd, and more like these things. Why? Because the people that were there in Israel at that time used to do these things. He talked about fishing. He talked about these things because they were relatable, and so that is, these things can be used to convey our message better. So that is all. So yes, and if you overuse them, and if you're not comfortable while using them, you really look pretentious. You really look pretentious. But yes, if you can comfortably and confidently use that, it in fact I have seen does better. I may make use of metaphors too much, and people appreciate that. In fact, they say that for example, just to give you an example, I told them that I used to study as much as I could during my JE. Like, have you seen a sugarcane, sugarcane vendor, sugarcane juice vendor? What he does is he puts that sugarcane into the machine, then he folds it, puts it in again, then folds it again, puts so that he extracts all the juice. And that's what I did to myself. I extracted all the productivity that I could uh, on that day of mine. And in the end, when I went on to sleep, that even that mattress respected me. So all of these things are, don't make sense if you look at it from logical standpoint, but still they convey a lot, and they inspire. It inspire people. I know I am speaking it with a good intention, and they know it too, and they thank us that you made use of these metaphors. Yes, use relevant metaphors that connect to the audience. Exactly, exactly. But if I use this example in front of US audience, they might never have even seen this, the sugarcane thing. But this is so Indian, so Indian people just can understand it, and they can relate with it. So that is the thing. Okay, and for English, so I was at the skeleton thing. So skeletons, you can look at the skeletons always. Like we say, uh, the richer, the happier. This is one skeleton. What does it mean? The more rich a person is, the happier he is, right? So this is a sentence. In like manner, like if we look at the structure of the sentence, we can say the followed by a comparative adjective, then again the followed by a comparative adjective. So in this manner, like someone was coming to meet me today. So I said, okay, come. He said, when should I come? I said, the earlier, the better. In that same skeleton, I conveyed my message to him. Are you getting my point? The earlier, the better. Like the richer, the happier. So I am basically taking out the skeletons which most people ignore. In like manner, a lot many like have you ever been taught English in this manner? There is present continuous tense in which what you do is there is subject, then you use is, am, are plus verb in the first form added with ing, and then there comes the object. Have you been taught in this manner? I'm taking a look at the comments. Please reply in the comments. I learned Sanskrit that way. It was not pretty. Why? Could you please turn on your mic and let us know?
I don't know, like when I learned Sanskrit, I guess probably in 6, 7, 8. my instructor would obviously use Hindi examples and have yani ki and then in bracket, and then there'll be like 10 different explanations for one word. And it really got tedious. It became
Too many rules,
difficult.
too many rules. I have
Too
just
many
got
rules. Yeah,
onto
you
this
get bogged
ground.
down.
Yes, I have just came to the ground to play this game, and you have overloaded me with the whole constitution of this game. Like I am not going to play this anymore. It is how a child feels, right? So this rule thing is not like it's not effective in my opinion. It is kind of a mathematical way of making people learn things. So what I did, I taught my brother one sentence that I am playing. That's it. I am playing. Now this is a skeleton. The skeleton is I like you can the skeleton is in your heart. Now make a sentence. Nishant. Now for Nishant, because he is third person, you will use is. So Nishant is, now what is the verb? Speak. And again, if there was in, so Nishant is speaking. So it looks similar. I am playing, Nishant is speaking, you are listening. So that skeleton, he caught that skeleton and now he uses it over and over. So that skeleton thing, and this was a simple sentence. The sentences that I just quoted are simple sentences, but you can do it for any complexity of a sentence, and it works. Like maybe uh, you can say that like there was a sentence of Martin Luther King in which he said that violence and civilization are antithetical concepts. What does it mean? Can anyone tell me its meaning? Violence and civilization are antithetical concepts. He said it like in a very that FM DJ slow tone. Violence and civilization are antithetical concepts. What does it mean? Opposites. So violence, if there is violence, there cannot be civilization, so on and so forth. So in like manner, you can make sentences like in discipline and success are antithetical concepts. I just copied it. I stole it. And that's what authors and artists now and then do. Like it's not stealing exactly. It's just in fact that the Martin Luther King also did not might not have created this quote. He might have gotten it from elsewhere. So this is what we do. Like all men are created equal. Someone created it, then someone took it in the American Constitution, in the Declaration of Independence, then Abraham Lincoln spoke it, then Martin Luther King spoke it. So this is how it goes, right? So you can always take sentences and put in your message into that. So basically now it is that you are a lion, you ate a deer, you ate its flesh but left his skeleton. Now what you are doing is you're not ignoring the skeleton anymore. In fact, using that skeleton, you are conveying. You are basically putting your meat on that skeleton and then letting the other person eat it. So have more and more skeletons and have more and more command on the skeletons that you have. This has been my approach of improving my English sentence making. Now coming to the vocabulary, I will just make 4 points about this, and that will be the end of this session. And if there are any questions, you can ask me after that. So I was on vocabulary thing. So there is a book called as Norman Lewis. Has anyone heard of it? The Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. Many CAT aspirants make use of it. So word power made easy, it makes use of the etymological approach. So now and then we hear this word pandemic, right? So pandemic, there is pan and there is demic in it. So pan means all, and demic means, guess what demic might mean? Guess, make a guess. Demic, like what it might mean. Pan means all, demic means people. So something that is incident on all people, that is pandemic. Now that demic is from demos. So when that demos is combined with cracy, it becomes democracy. So people, cracy means rule. So it is rule of people. Then when that crazy is added with theo, what does theo what might theo mean? Can you guess it? Theo. Let me write it. Let me write. This root theo. What might it mean? Theology. Great. So what does theo mean still? Like what does theo relate with? Mr. Rishikesh. It relates with God, religion, just so you know. So theocracy means rule of religion. Cracy means rule. Democracy means rule of people. Theocracy means rule of God, rule of religion. Theology, now theo is God or religion. So theology, logy means study. So theology means study of God, study of religion. When that logy gets added to bio means life. So study of life. So when someone studies about life, so biology is a subject about life. Then bio is life. You add graphy to it, so it becomes biography. And biography is life writing. Graphy means writing. So you are writing about someone's life. Auto means self. So autobiography means self life writing, writing about one's own life. So this is how words are created out of root words. So to give you another example, like you can say see the word suicide. Suicide means murdering oneself, killing oneself, self-murder. So that side thing, just I noticed that this side suffix is after, like, can you name some words after which there is the suffix side, CIDE? Please, in the comments. Homicide, very good. Homicide means killing a human. So homicide basically means a murder. What else? Genocide. Genocide means like killing a gene, basically a race. So like there are like what Hitler did to Jews. Genocide. Okay, then I don't know if it is pronounced as genocide or genocide, whatever. Pesticide means killing the pests. Patricide means killing one's father. So and enlightenment, there is feticide. Feticide means killing a fetus, female feticide. They kill when they get to know that there is a woman there is a girl in the womb. They kill it. So that is called as female feticide. Female infanticide is when a girl gets born and they find that it is a girl, they kill her. So that is infanticide, female infanticide, and so on. So you can always take a look at similar words and go check their etymology. Like this is called as etymology, basically where these words have originated from. Knowing this, you can and you know how it has helped me. So one of my friend made use of the word comorbidities. I had never heard of that word before, but I made use of my etymological knowledge that I obtained from the book Norman Lewis. I guess it is a comprehensive book for a layperson to know the etymological approach to learn words. So comorbidities means, so I decoded it in this manner. Morbid means sick or ill. Morbidity means, what would morbidity mean? Guess. If morbid means sick, morbidity means easy. No one? If morbid means ill or sick, morbidity means sickness, exactly. What does comorbidity mean? Comorbidity, basically, we were talking about a COVID patient that unfortunately, is no more. So comorbidity, like we were saying that, she died because of other comorbidities as well. Comorbidities mean that there is a main disease and there are diseases that are besides that. So co means with or together. So comorbidity means uh, diseases besides that main disease. So that was comorbidity, and I understood it right away. So this is how etymology might help you. So this was one approach. Now let me tell you a short story. So there was a guy like whose sister asked him to make her braid. You know what braid is? Simple. So he started making the braid and he did it from the bottom. Like we basically make the braid from the top, right? But he started doing it from the bottom and bottom up. So he went up. So it was like a ridiculous manner of making a braid. And his sister got angry. And then she scolded him very bitterly. So why did she scold him bitterly? Because he made her braid up. So, therefore, up braid means scold. Okay, so this is a ridiculous approach, but like people have been successful in like teaching words, a lot many words in this manner to people. So there are books. If you say I will send them to Arushi or Ratna, I will send their names, and you can download them or buy them. And so this like there was another example, like edify. So you take an egg and you then enlighten it, and with that enlighten it gets wings and it starts flying. So when you enlighten an egg, it starts flying. Egg fly sounds like edify. So edify means enlighten or educate. So this is a ridiculous manner, but finally, in this manner we can learn a lot many words. So I will tell you a basic manner finally. So I am giving a list of books. Please take a screenshot of it. Norman Lewis. This you can do. This should be the very first book you do if you like mathematics a bit. It is kind of a mathematical approach to learning words. Then there is a book called as Manhattan, or there could be any other book, any book of 500 words. What you have to do is now this is a special thing that you do. You take a book that has 500 words. This is the most important thing, and you write all those 500 words in a notebook. Now, for every one word, you look at its synonyms. You look at its synonyms in on a site called as thesaurus.com. Let me write it here. Thesaurus. Thesaurus is it's a device. Basically, thesaurus used to be a book earlier, but now websites have replaced those books. So what you do on thesaurus, it's like dictionary, which tells you the synonyms. Its job is to tell you the synonyms and some antonyms of a particular word. You search any words and you will find a lot many synonyms of that on thesaurus. So thesaurus.com is a site that I like a lot. And go to thesaurus.com, search for its synonyms, and write 2, 3, 4 synonyms there. Besides that, you write the translation of that word in your mother tongue. Now, to give you an example, I wrote a word sycophant. Okay? Sycophant. Now I will write its synonyms. So there is one word obsequious, another word unctuous, another word bootlicker. Okay. Then in my mother tongue Hindi, I will write chaploose. Okay. So in this manner, at one instance, I am learning 4 English words because 1 is the original word sycophant, 3 are its synonyms, and then I am also relating it with a word of my native language. You know what happens, that my native language is like close to my heart. So whatever is spoken in my native language, I really instantly get the feeling of it. When you say chap loose means someone who bootlicks someone. So chap loose, like I can think of some faces, some chap loose faces do come to my mind when I hear the word chap loose. Okay, So you can also think of those unctuous people, those bootlickers, and then you can tell them, you can attribute these words to them. Okay, so they are unctuous, they are servile, they are obsequious, they are sycophant, they are bootlickers, and there can be other slangs as well. So this way, your emotion, you are picturizing, visualizing, you are relating your emotions with that, and you are also relating all those core words with your mother tongue. So you're learning 4 words at once. And also, actually, when you relate them with this emotion, later, when this thing will come to your mind, when this emotion will come to your mind, if you see someone doing someone else's chaplusi, so suddenly these 4 words will come to your mind, like they came to my mind. So you can make use of this approach, and after this you will have a reservoir of 2,000 words, because 500 words, 3 extra words for each word, total 2,000 words. You have a vocabulary, like you already have a good vocabulary, you add 2,000 words to it, and 300-400 words you can learn from Norman Lewis book. And then when you read a lot, when you listen to a lot many speeches, and when you listen to web series, etc., your vocabulary will expand, and there will come a time when you will not fall short of words. There will come a time when you will not get stuck in the midst of a book while reading, and you can read a book fluently. And there will come a time when, like, you will become a fluent speaker of English. So it is a slow process. Let us give it the time it deserves and be patient, but keep putting in constant efforts. With this, I end this session, and I am open for questions. I will be here for 10-15 minutes. Please do ask any questions. Please feel free to ask anything. And do let me know how it helped you. What were the takeaways? If there is any feedback for me, because sometimes I'm accused of, overloading my sessions with too much content. Anyway, and was your being here fruitful? If yes, then in what manner? Did you get what you came here for? Anything? I'm here like for 10 minutes at least. Yes, please, Arushi.
So I do have a question. When it comes to English, I'm not that. I think my vocabulary and all needs a lot of improvement. But the thing I lack the most is confidence. Confidence. Sorry. Whenever I speak, I sound very unsure of what I'm saying. I feel that all the time.
Okay, I got this. But it is a very unique manner. When you speak, like when you're speaking to us, so it looks like a very humble way of speaking. So it is just fine. It's just a complex that you have created for yourself. Be aware of that, and moreover, uh, uh, it is just about habit. I tell you this. I'm learning Bangla these days. Bangla, the language of Bengal. So what happens is that I make a lot of mistakes, but I still keep on speaking like insane people. Sometimes if someone uses your mother tongue and he makes a lot many mistakes, you get pissed off, you get angry at them, or you think that they are so naive, you feel like laughing at them. So it does happen, but I do not care about that, to tell you the truth. So my friends are quite, they sometimes laugh at it, but they always appreciate my efforts. So I never stop speaking Bangla. When I speak, I make mistakes, but then I always request them to correct me, and always I say, okay, ঠিক আছে, ধন্যবাদ. So I in the end say that, fine, thanks. So always, and I ask like, Kichu, but যদি আমার থেকে কোনো ভুল হয়ে গেছে, আমাকে মাফ করো, মাফ করে দিন, so on and so forth. So I try, and I have just began it. I make mistakes, I'm not fluent, but I know that it's a slow process. And if I just put constant, consistent efforts, little by little, there will come a day when I will have, and I have to be patient. When I will speak in Bengali, maybe even better than Abhigyan. So I am telling you, Arushi, that what you can do is you speak. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Make mistakes. Just make mistakes. Like you are a human, and if there are people who do not uh, regard your right to make mistakes, then they are not humanly. And you can still be, sometimes people will ridicule you. Sometimes there will be ridiculous moments. Sometimes and sometimes when people make the mockery of you, it is not out of spite or out of looking down upon you. It's just just fun. It's very light, but we take it too seriously. So that is something that we need to change, and that's where our shyness goes away, and we can grow socially. Like these are all social skills, and people are there. People are kind of our lab. People are our lab rats. So that is there. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's it. Okay. Any other question? Your tips regarding public speaking and stage fright were very helpful to me. Thank you for the session. Great, Abhigyan. You're welcome, brother. Anything else? Can we just, it is my, I always do this, that I always ask this to, the viewers, my listeners, to write the takeaways, and then I speak them out, read them out one by one, and in this manner, everyone gets to know, the summary of the session. So, how about we do it right here as well? Please start writing like what helped you and like exactly the point. Share it with the ones who are reading your comments. So they have attended the session. Just mm, give us a hint so that we can recall. What is your takeaway? For that thing is like I told that stage fright, etc. I told you I got you rid of all these extra burden, all this extra burden of impressing people, making an impact, so on and so forth. Uh, so I basically said that I was also kind of burdened with all these things, and while I used to do kirtan, so I told myself, let's focus on God and devotion, and then everything came in place. Morgan Freeman et al. Okay, I will see, I will watch. Let me just write down this name. Morgan Freeman. And Arushi, can you get floated a feedback form after this session? I would like to know
Yes, sir.
the feedback of people. Be yourself when you're speaking to you will not be judged for making mistakes. Intonation is important and putting forward your point. Great. The thing about our survival instincts kicking in, have never thought of it before. Great. Great, Arushi. Hmm. And you know what happens? Like that threat thing. Because actual in truth, there is no threat as such. But we perceive it to be that way. So what happens is if you keep on being there over and over and over, so your mind will learn that no, it's not a place to of threat. Your life is not at threat. It's fine. These people are humans, not predators. Hmm. That's it. That's it. Just let me take the names. Uh, Akansha, what did you learn? Aman, what's your takeaway? And Nageshwar, okay, Nageshwar, Pooja, Ratna, Rishikesh, Tejas, Tejaswin, Viraj. I'm learning another new language, so some good tips about hanging in there. Yeah, are you asking about the tips, or are you asking for the tips, or that I already gave you the tips? Like, what do you mean? I didn't get it. Sorry, Rishikesh. Already, yes, exactly. So I just make mistakes, and people really, in fact, they help us. They really like it. They consider us like a child because a child is allowed to make mistakes. Or look at your small sisters and brothers, or remember the time when you were children. So you mimicked others. You mimicked their sentences. You didn't even pronounce them properly, and there were like two worldly of things that people around you spoke, and you were just a child, and people spoke the language to all its complexity, but still you just mimicked it. And you mimicked it, you tried to re-utter what they said, and you made mistakes. People laughed at you, but you didn't care about it. You made mistakes, they corrected you, you took the feedback positively, and years passed, and you became a native speaker. So this way you became a native speaker of your native language, and same can be done for any other language as well. Honestly, after today's session, I developed an interest in etymology, the way you simplified the meaning of complex words. Amazing, great. So, all right then. So, with this, I think Arushi, it's the right time to conclude and end this session, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing all that. There is so much in that I could put directly into use, not just in public speaking, in everyday speaking. And the way that you speak, it's like so real and so, like, it's almost as if I'm talking to you. I really like that part. And thank you so much for sparing your time and talent to enrich us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so should I exit this then?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome, everyone. Bye-bye. All the best.
Uh, so right now we'll go on with the speech event, and I hope you guys who are here for the speech are ready with it. With your permission, I'd like to start the recording. Uh, okay. So one of the favorite quotes of mine is, "Speech is the mirror of the soul. As someone speaks, so are they." Uh, the speeches that we give here today will be sort of like an insight into our minds. They'll be a mirror into our souls. That's why just attending this meet will be so much fun. And all of us here will learn something about the speaker themselves. So I'd like to start with Tejaswin. Tejaswin, are you there? Tejaswin,
Yes, yes, I'm here.
you can go on, Tejaswin.
Okay, hello everyone. A very good evening to all of you. So, like, my topic of speech is Mysore Dasara. The reason I chose this topic is because I was born and raised in Mysore, and since we just got done with Dasara, I thought it would be a nice time to, like, it was a nice coincidence since the event was also held at this time. So I thought it would be a nice way to let you all know about Dasara's history with Mysore. So I would like to start with the history of Dasara. Okay. So Mysore Dasara is the Nada Habba. Like in our native language, we call it the Nada Habba, or as in English, it's called as the state festival of the state of Karnataka. It is a 10-day festival starting with 9 nights called the Navratri, and the last day being Vijayadashami. The festival is observed on the 10th day in the Hindu calendar as Dasara. Like basically in the whole of India, in the 10th day during Vijayadashami, most of us we wished as Dasara. But basically it's a whole 10-day festival starting from the first day to the 10th day. The Hindu festival of Dasara consisting of Navaratri and Vijayadashmi, celebrates the victory of good over evil. It was the day in the Hindu legends when goddesses Chamundeshwari, also known as Durga, killed the demon Mahishasura. Mahishasura was the bull-headed demon who was ruling over Mahishasur or Mysuru, which is also known as Mysore right now. Mysore is a modern version. Before it was known as Mahishasarana Uru or Mahishasur. So Mahishasura is the Asura from whom the name Mysuru has been derived. According to the story, Mysore was ruled over by him. In response to the prayers of the gods and goddesses, the goddess Parvati took birth as Chamundeshwari and killed the monster on top of the Chamundi hill near Mysore. Hence, the hill and the city have the names Chamundi Hill and Mysore respectively. After killing the monster, the goddess stayed on top of the hill. The famous 10-day-long Dasara of Mysuru is in honor of the goddess. The city of Mysore has a long tradition of celebrating the Dasara festival. And according to historical records, the Dasara festivities began with the Vijayanagar Samrajya in the 15th century. That was in the 1400s. And after the fall of the Vijayanagar kingdom, the Wadayas dynasty of Mysore continued the Dasara festival. The first Dasara festival was held by Raja Wadayar the first in the year 1618 at Srirangapatna. So, that was how Dasara started in Mysore, and till then, from the 1400s to the current 21st century, it has been carried out without fail every single year. Okay, the main festivities of Dasara include, the special darbar, which is held in the palace, it is held by the descendants of the king, the Wadayas. The festivities included a special darbar, and it was started during the reign of Krishnaraja Wadaya III in the year 1805. Okay, they started holding this special darbar from the year 1805. Before that, the royal couple, the king and his queen, would go to the Chamundi Hill temple and they would perform a puja there. That was the initial practice. But in 1805, it was they started holding a special darbar in the palace, which was this darbar was attended by the members of the royal family, special invitees, officials, and masses. This is being carried out even till now. Right now, by wait a minute, I'm really sorry, I forgot the name of the current king. But yeah, the tradition is still being carried out. The other famous attractions include the lightings of the whole city. During these 10 days and a few days before and after, the whole city of Mysore will be arranged in lightings. And the most famous attraction among all this is the Mysore Palace, which is lighted daily with nearly 100,000 light bulbs from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the evening. And not just that, there will be a lot of cultural and religious programs highlighting dance, music, and other from various parts of the state of Karnataka, which are being performed in the palace. And the other more major important attraction is the procession, which is held on Vijayadashmi. The traditional Dasara procession, also known as Jambu Savari, is held on the streets of Mysore city. The main attraction of this procession is the idol of the goddess Chamundeshwari, which is placed on a golden howdah or mantapa, and that weighs around 750 kilograms of gold on the top of a decorated elephant. This idol is worshipped by the royal couple and other invitees before it is taken around the process. Colorful tableau, dance groups, music bands, decorated elephants, horses, and camels form a part of the procession, which starts from the Mysore Palace and culminates at a place called Bani Mantap, where the Bani tree is worshipped. According to a legend of the Mahabharata, Bani tree was used by the Pandavas to hide their weapons during their 1-year period of Agnatavasa. Before undertaking any warfare, the kings traditionally worshipped this tree to help them emerge victorious in the war. The Dasara festivities would culminate on the night of Vijayadashmi with an event held in the grounds at Bani Mantap called as Panjina Kavayettu. Also, in English, it's called as Torchlight Parade. In Mysore, the Vijayadashmi elephant procession during Mysore Dasara is called Jambu Savari, and it started during the British control of the Mysore state. Okay, and there are a few other major attractions which include the Mysore Dasara exhibition. It was first started by like Chamraja Wadaya the 10th in 1880. With the initiation to introduce what and all innovations and timely developments are happening to the city of Mysore. The task of holding the exhibition is now entrusted with the Karnataka Exhibition Authority, which was established in 1991. It starts during Dasara and it goes on till the end of December. So these are the mainstays of the program. The other attractions include, a flower show, which in which there's a whole garden which is decorated with flowers, and this is not just limited to Mysore. We have artists from all over the country coming over and showcasing their skills. We also have cultural programs called as Yuva Dasara and similarly related, where we have a program every evening, and there will be like particular stars or guests invited to perform for all the 9 days. The 10th day, not the 10th day, because that's when the procession goes on. It ends, so only for the 9 days. The most of the programs go on only for the 9 days. So basically, I would like to conclude by saying that Mysore Dasara is a very inbuilt thing. Like it's something which every Mysorean takes pride in, and it has become a part of our daily lives. And when Dasara comes, all of us get excited. So Mysore Dasara and Chamandi Betta are something which is very integral to Mysore, and it is what Mysore has been famous for a very long time. And I'm very proud that the whole world comes to witness the Jambu Savari in Mysore. And I would also like to invite all of you to come and visit it next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tejasan. I have heard a lot about the Mysore Palace, but I didn't know that there were like so much history behind it. It's so nice to hear about the folklore and the culture of a particular place. Does anyone have any questions about it for Tejasan?
Yeah, please go ahead.
What is your favorite part of the Dasara festival? You told so many things. Which is your favorite part?
My most favorite part is include going out, roaming out with friends. To like literally the whole city is decorated like a bride during a wedding, and it is really amazing. Every single part of the street, all the major roads are really decorated, and they try new types of lightings every year. So it feels good to roam under there and hang out with my friends. And the other part include the special culture programs which are conducted. So like every single night they attract various artists. On a certain time we even had DJ Bravo coming and performing his champion song in the event. So yeah, like attending those programs and exploring the city. Even if I have been staying here for 20 years and I have gone through or attended all the every single Dasara since I was capable of remembering it, it's still a new experience every single time.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much, Tejasan.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Pooja. Pooja, please go ahead.
I'm today going to speak on mental health issues. That is a very serious topic, I know. I always wanted to speak on this topic, and since today we are free to speak on any topic, I would like to grab this opportunity. So, perception, it largely changes our mindset. It largely changes who we are, and to some extent, it even bothers us. Actually, it bothers us all the time. How I feel and what someone else feel about a situation
about myself, about themselves, is always going to be different. Not one person thinks the same as the other in this world, because we all were programmed to have our own thoughts. We have the freedom to make our own choices. Uh, people say people say sometimes it's good to be selfish, but you can't be selfish if it affects someone. Sorry, I'm deviating from the topic. So I'll speak about something important today: mental health. We never understand what brought up us to this point, neither does no one else. We always blame someone else. We always use someone else's opinion to shape ours. But we never think for ourselves. Everyone goes through something big or small, and the bigger it is, the scarier it gets, right? No one understands, because if you are going through something, you are not gonna show it because you don't want to make feel others that you are weak, because you don't want others to know that you are lower than them. You don't want to be accepted as depressed because you aren't. You are happy on the inside. It's the circumstances, it's the time that makes you who you are right now. You will get out of this no matter what anyone says, no matter what the situation is. I want you to know that you shouldn't stop loving yourself. Nobody else matters. No one's opinion matters. What you feel should always be the right thing to do. What your parents say, what your friends say about your mental health does not matter. See, you have your own brain, you have your own heart. You can't let someone else uh, decide who you love. You can't let someone else's heart decide what should go on in your thoughts, because it's not appropriate. It is not accepted by everyone. Yes, acceptance. You aren't accepted, and this is why you are sad. You aren't happy with how your situations are, which makes you dark from the inside. I know. You get bad dreams, you get nightmares about people who you really care dying, because you are scared that you will lose them. Cry about it, cry to your family, cry to your friends, cry it to whoever. Express yourself, because that is the only way you can get out of something. Keeping it within yourself is going to make it even worse. It is going to take you to a very, very bad place. Life is meant to live. You only live once. You don't want to regret even a single second of your life thinking you could have done something better. What you care matters. If someone says it's easy to get out of what you are going through, it's not. It's hard. It's hard to make the transition from bad to good, from negative to positive. It's not that equal sign like you can hop over from negative to positive. No. The color of my skin, my hair, or my orientation shouldn't matter, because I am breathing the oxygen you all are. I'm also living a life on this planet like others, just in a different way. One thing which like I wrote I wrote when I was in school is that we all have our own songs that we live. Some may be heavy metal, some may be chill lo-fi beats. There is always going to be indifferences, insecurities. We just have to choose to understand people, understand situations. Life sucks. Life is trash. Screw life, but learn from it. Never give up. Never let go. To the people listening, reach out to the people who have disconnected from you, whom you have disconnected from. I know I may be sounding so bored, because like this is not the topic I should be speaking here, but I really wanted to speak on this topic. Um, because I have gone through a lot last year, and I can proudly say that the puja I was last year is not the same puja I am this year. Like I was an extrovert, I'm still an extrovert, but what actually happened is that last year last year, like that is before the lockdown phase, that me was different. I used to think of what other people will think when I'll do this, that, but now I don't give a shit about anything. I just do whatever I like, whatever I feel is right for me. So that is what I wanted to say. Do whatever makes you happy. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Do we have any questions for Pooja here about her speech? Okay, I guess we have none. Thank you, Pooja. You spoke really well about something that's not spoken about that much, and you really opened up a side of yourself to all of us. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Pooja. Well spoken. Next, we have Namrata.
Good evening to one and all virtually present here. So, as today, like the topic is something generic, so I thought to share my views on the essence of humanity. So, to feel, to be able to kindle emotions into another being, to move, and to be able to make things move. To see and to be able to process what we see makes us what we are. It makes us human. But my question is that what makes us humane on the whole? So, with all the talks about crime, corruption, and kids these days who are worse than ever, we have kind of forgotten how far we've come. Like, I feel humanity has grown, but it has also changed to the point that it is no longer what it once was. Like, leave alone the far off countries, we have currently become so self centered that we don't pay heed to what's happening in our own country. Two simple words that hold a lot of meaning. If typed, can you tell how I am? What if I put an exclamation mark at the end? So would that help? And what about a question mark? Does that help anymore? I would assume not, because that's all they are to you. Mere words. So, for example, you don't see the smile on my face or maybe the tears rolling down my eyes. You can't feel how I feel just from those two words. So, in today's backseat, effort taking to someone sitting right across the table from them. And besides this, newspapers these days are also full of articles depicting the downfall of humanity. Say a truck driver door checked what came beneath the wheels, but the only thing the horrific sight could do was to let him drive away from that area. So youth, the flag bearers of the country, if we don't come up to the expectations of the Almighty, we'll feel guilty throughout our lifetime. My list. What happened when Edmund Hillary could click the Mount Everest when was why is it for us? So we just have to get an insight of certain basic things and we are good to go. In the fast-paced world, let's take time to put down 3 into 5 boxes and lift up our heads. Let's take time to be humans again. This world we live in is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing place. Right. And we aren't meant to lead our lives alone, are we? Humanity is the force that will bind all of us together. For we are meant to live together. And by the way, I'm really fine. Just fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Namrata. I really liked your topic. It's very unique. What drove you to choose this topic, Namrata?
Actually, I work in an organization which has similar thoughts, like similar views, and like it works selflessly. It's more of a non-governmental thing, and we have got, for example, Humanity Olympiad and certain other things which drive your interest away from things which we do normally at schools and colleges, right? So that drove me to write this.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions for her? If not, I'd like to call upon Akansha.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So, my topic for today is the impact of climate change in the Himalayas. Himalayas, the natural climatic barrier of India, are under continuous damage since man's curiosity to explore the nature has evolved. Though there are many sensitive hotspots across the globe which have been explored to some extent, it is yet debatable whether or not has this exploration led to the exploitation of nature, particularly the calm yet bewildering mountains. One of the most alarming issues of the impact of climate change in Himalayas is the melting of glaciers. The Tibetan Plateau and northern Himalayan region experienced an average increment of 1.5 degrees centigrade since the year 1969 to 2014. The Gangotri Glacier alone, which is the source of river Bhagirathi, the main tributary of the Ganges, has retreated more than 1500 meters in the last 70 years. This volume of melted ice eventually causes floods in the lower Gangetic plains, where the river already grows huge by the confluence of many of its kind. Thus, the blunder in Himalayas affects the people of Bihar, Bengal, and with its contribution in the rising sea level, indefinitely the people of entire world. A significant threat posed by climate change in Himalayas is the formation of a large number of glacial lakes, which consist of vast quantities of glacier meltwater held in place by natural dams of rocks. After mapping more than 5,000 glacial lakes on the Indian side of Himalayan range, a group of scientists have claimed that there are more than 500 glaciers in Uttarakhand at risk of outburst. As I belong to a lower Garhwal Himalayas background, I've experienced the conflict between local wildlife and humans due to rapid urbanization. Ecologically, the plant species that inhabit the mountains are compelled to migrate to higher altitudes due to warming and are in danger of being lost before anyone has even recorded their existence. Himalayan musk deer, red panda, snow leopard, endangered flora having medicinal values like Himalayan blue poppy, Himalayan yew, and kutki are losing their natural habitat. The Himalayan monal, the national bird of Nepal and also the state bird of Uttarakhand, is marked as a species of least concern by IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. Human pressures on the natural ecosystems of Himalayas are intensifying, and this requires new research efforts and management strategies. It is absurd how people leave behind tons of garbage after their pilgrimage and various tourist expeditions in Upper Garhwal Himalayan region. As an eco-sensitive zone already, Himalayas must be dealt with sheer delicacy because when mountains shake, the planet trembles. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you so much, Akansha. That was a really ongoing topic. It's something we all should be concerned for. Uh, Next, we have Nageshwar. Please go ahead. Did you have any questions? Someone raised their hand. Hmm.
Hello.
Yeah. Did you have a question? I guess you raised your hand.
No, by mistake.
Okay. Yeah. Next, you are supposed to go ahead with your speech.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Today I am here to speak on topic subversion. It is a bit it is related to geopolitics and all that scenario. But I choose this topic as it is my field of interest. So what exactly is subversion is subversion particularly means to change or play with the minds of people of a country so that they so that after some 10 20 or 30 40 years they they are internally disturbed and they and it becomes easy for other nations to to means play their play their cards. Uh, Applications of subversion are in some fields like religion, education, social structure, or family structure, power structure like media, in enforcement and judiciary, in moral values and inequality. Uh, uh, a country, they they do this process of subversion in four steps basically, uh, based upon previous case studies of South Korea, Iran, Iraq, uh, USA. It has been seen uh, first they demoralize a nation uh, by hiring some journalists, uh, uh, film directors, which continuously bombard their audiences by saying that your past was not that good. We were superior. So this is first step. Uh, in education system, they deliberately make some changes like in India now they have uh, reduced the syllabus or where science and technology and other things and science and technology and math need to be focused more, and these colleges and universities should be made more. Instead of that, some other institutes are being funded, and this next step is by uh, after 15 years of educating one generation by this means, by this all means of information like uh, movies uh, and movies, generals, magazines, etc. Then they move on to destabilization phase. This 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 is automatically uh, this automatically takes place due to change in ideology of groups, group. And then there comes crisis in a country which lasts for 6 to some years, depending upon size of country and diversity. And then the ex- uh, the external forces which were doing this, they they come up are being friendly towards that nation by giving some big loans, by helping, trying to show that they are helping, but from below the table, they are uh, looking for their benefit. Like they will ask for a huge military base, or they will ask to privatize their banks, etc. And the subversion is basically two-way process. Means any closed society like China, Russia, or Japan of past Japan of 1920, they never let the Time magazine or YouTube or Facebook to enter in their to enter in their country. Japan has become nowadays open, but Russia and China and North Korea are still closed society. So, thank you.
Was that it? Okay, thank you so much. Actually, this is a topic I've never heard of before. How did you get the idea to present your speech in this?
Means I read a lot of on this topic from last one or 1.5 year. So I thought I should present.
That's great. Thank you so much for your speech. Does anyone here have a speech prepared? Am I missing someone? If not, then that was the speech. Thank you so much for all your words, as we've told once and again that these events are for practice, not for perfection. So whatever you speak here should come from your heart, and as you speak, you learn. This event is just the inauguration, and I know we have a lot of events prepared, and I was just like to share a PPT with you to just go through what the future events and all will look like for everyone in the meet and as well as people watching on YouTube. I hope you guys can see my screen. So this is our club, the Apostrophe Rotary Club. We have mostly finished our recruitment, but it's still not too late to apply. Communication skills are one of the most underrated. Like we realize the value of communication later in life. Like I got through all of my basic schooling without knowing how important it is for us, and then later I saw people who were so much better than me at communicating so much well. So, in order to see a change, we have to try something new. Like uh, all of you guys who gave a speech here today took your time out, prepared something, and put your best foot out. And that really makes a difference. It's a small step and it's in the right direction. So, this is our apostrophe motto, just showing up and talking. And this was everywhere in our goals, in our description. This is what we want to achieve through this. And a part of achieving is also taking feedback. That's why we have these feedback forms rolled out here and there. So whatever you guys send, we read and then we work on them as soon as you send them, because it's not just it's not very rigid, like it's very flexible. For us also, it's a learning experience. Today we had the speech event, and you guys can expect many more events in the future, like debates, extempore, elocutions. And if you guys have any suggestions on whether what kind of events we should add on here, you guys can contact any of us. We'll surely think about it. This was the inauguration, and after this, we'll surely have an event every 15 days. We'll tell you ahead of time, we'll announce the theme, tell the time limit, if any, and most importantly, you guys need to show up and have fun. We'll also have like laid back events which are not so formal, which we can just speak our heart out. And of course, we'll have like a finale event. We're thinking of having a competitive events. This you guys have already done. And our Instagram page is more than just a club promotion page. We post also about tips and things that we learned. Like, for example, today we had such a great webinar by Nishant Jindal. So the MOM of that, some extracts from that, whatever sir recommended to us, everything that we can put to practice will be posted there. So do follow us there. Our next event will start at 6:30. It's a webinar/workshop on business speaking. Like, I think all of us in this BSc degree will enter the corporate world at some or the other level, or already have. And the communication there is also very necessary. Like, it's kind of different from the interpersonal communication that we're used to. And I think it needs to be learned differently, the etiquettes, the manners, so we can go in prepared and not the culture there should not catch us by surprise. So I am fairly excited for the next one. Our speaker is Pouya Haidari. He is I'm so sorry. Yeah. He has trained more than 500 sales professionals in business talking, and he is also really skilled in coaching and mentoring sales professionals, like for increasing their sales. This event so we didn't have many speeches, but the ones we had were so diverse. Like, do you guys have anything to tell about it? Something that you learned, something that you want to share? Some speech that you liked the most? I guess I liked all of them equally. Like, they were so unique and it's just so nice to see that everyone in our club is so different and has another way of speaking. Till then, I guess I didn't share the. I'll share the social media links of our speakers so you guys can check them out too. These are all the social media links of our speakers. That speaker Nishant Jindal. I'll share the other speakers' social medias too. They have such an interesting social media page, so much to learn and so much to see. I hope you guys check that out. We've also rolled out a feedback form which you can fill up. It will be much appreciated. Sorry for the delay, guys. It will just take 5 more minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hi, good evening.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
There we go. How are you guys? Glad to be here.
yeah, good to see you. Should I get started with an intro?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
So all of us in our BSc degree are preparing in some way or other to join the corporate world. And today we have with us Mr. Pouya, who's helped a lot of sales professionals to elevate their business. And he's here with us to share his expertise on communication in professional settings. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. First things first, I just want to make sure I'm coming across clearly. So give me a second here to make sure the microphone is good. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure the right things were attached. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. And I appreciate everybody being here. I hope that I can bring some value and give you guys a couple of notes to take away from this talk. And hopefully I can answer any questions that you have at the end as well. So just before I get into a couple of things that I wanted to discuss here, I wanted to give you a quick background on myself in case anybody's wondering who I am or what I do, just so you're more familiar on why I can speak on communications and especially communications in business and in professional settings, which is what I'd like to discuss. So as for myself, I was in sales and business at a very early age. At the age of 16, I started to travel around and go to business conferences and seminars and start to connect with mentors. My first mentor being Jim Rohn, who's a very well-known business philosopher. He mentored the likes of Tony Robbins and a lot of other well-known entrepreneurs. And I learned a lot from him that to this day I still apply. And that set me on my path of self-education. And this is a path of formal education here where we're discussing you guys graduating, and congratulations on that. But on the flip side of that, there's the path of self-education, which in a way leads to discovery. Self-education leads to you digging deeper, you reading books, as you see behind me, you looking for mentors, you're reaching up for the information that you're looking for in different sources. And that path of self-education led me into sales, then into management and leadership roles, and then later into executive positions. Then I became a shareholder and board member in multiple different companies, and we were doing what's known as outsourced sales. So we would partner with well-known entrepreneurs or large multi-billion-dollar corporations, and we would be hiring, training, and building out their sales teams, their management teams, their leadership teams, and really making sure that we're hitting revenue targets. And I used to be on multiple different projects, and I would go from one to the other. And from there, the natural progression for me was to venture out and start to help sales professionals and entrepreneurs from all around the world. And that's what I do today. So just wanted to give you all the background, so we're all clear on, and let you know the reason I can speak on communications. And that's what I want to talk on today: communications in business and in professional settings. So first things first, and by the way, Arushi, correct? If there's any questions for me, or if you'd like to stop me at any point, feel free as well, if there's anything you need to clarify.
Sure.
Okay, great. So I wanted to get right into this, and I have 3 different points that I want to cover with you guys. I wanted to keep it very simple. Of course, I want to bring value and make sure you guys walk away with something tangible that you can actually apply and it relates to your next chapter. But I also wanted to make it very simple so that you guys are able to grasp it, and it's something that can make sense at this moment. So the first thing is really the North Star, and the goal that I think everybody should be looking at is how we can live a truly fulfilled life on our own terms. To me, that's what the North Star is. You want to live truly fulfilled, and you want to live on your own terms. So that implies a few things. That implies you've achieved a level of financial independence. That implies you have a level of freedom where you can make choices and you have options, right? And in order to get to that level of financial freedom and options and financial independence, you obviously need to have some high level skills, some high income skills. And one of those skills is communication. And communication is referred to by many different names. Some call it sales, some call it communication, some call it public speaking or just speaking. But regardless, communications is communications, and the fundamentals don't change regardless of the applicability of it, whether it's in a professional setting, whether it's in a personal setting. When you're a high level effective communicator, this is something that is going to help you in every area of your life. And my belief is communications and this level of high level communication is what's required to reach financial independence, which is also what's required to live a truly fulfilled life on your own terms. So if you really boil it down, you guys want to be happy, you want to earn income, you want to have a fulfilling career or business, communication is the skill you guys want to focus on. So I hope that highlights the importance of it for you all. And with that being said, I'm just going to leave you with a quote, and then we'll get into the 3 things that I want to discuss with you. And the quote is this: not every great communicator is a great leader, but every great leader is a great communicator. And I want you guys to keep that in mind as you're going into professional settings, as you're going into business or going into any different roles. It's just good to know that if you want to have a position where, whether you're pitching an idea in a business or professional setting, whether you're selling a product or a service, you're actually in a sales role, whether you're an executive, whether you're a leader to many, it's communication that's going to be the differentiating factor. It's communication that's going to be what's going to allow you to actually establish rapport with people, to build relationships, to build your network, to get your ideas across. Really, everything that you want to do boils down to the fundamentals of communications. So before I get into my 3 elements of communication and the 3 points that I want to cover, any questions on that so far? Is that all clear? Perfect. I'll take that as an answer for everybody, so I'll keep it moving. Okay, great. So there's 3 things that I want to discuss, like I said, and we can always go a lot deeper. And with communication, just like with sales and with anything else that's worthy of studying, there are many different layers and elements to this. So we can talk on this for hours and for days, but just to keep it very simple, I'll cover it with these 3 overarching ideas. So number 1, if you're writing this down or you're taking notes or taking some mental notes, I would highly recommend it. Number 1 is confidence and conviction in communication. So confidence and conviction. So if you're communicating in any facet, especially in a professional or in a business setting, the first thing that needs to be in place from your end is confidence and conviction. And you might have heard of this idea of the most important sale you ever make is a sale of yourself, right? The most important person to always sell is yourself. You come before anybody else. Before that communication is put out to the world or to anybody else, you have to have full confidence, full conviction in that idea you're communicating, in that product or service that you're selling, if the communication form is sales, whatever it might be. Confidence and conviction is number 1. And here are a few ways you can make sure that you always have the absolute confidence, conviction when you're speaking in any kind of communication setting. And one of those things is preparation. So when it comes to communication, especially in a professional or business setting, if you want to have confidence and conviction, you of course need to be prepared. You need to have preparation beforehand. So whatever that might mean in that context, if that's in a school setting, then obviously preparation there. If that's in going into a job interview in your next phase, it's preparation in everything you want to discuss in that interview, and that gives you the confidence and the conviction when you're speaking in your communication. Another point is understanding the underlying needs and wants of the person you're communicating with or the group you're communicating with, right? So understanding their needs and wants. What is it that they absolutely will need from this communication as a result of this communication? What are standards? And what is it that they would want? What is it that you want to convey from your end? So understanding the underlying needs and wants. And then the last thing is intention. Going into any kind of communication with a clear intention. Having a clear intention of what you want to get across. Having a clear intention of communicating something directly to whoever you're communicating to. And this ties in with preparation, right? So that's point number 1. Number 1 is confidence and conviction in communication, and the underlying factors of that are preparation, understanding the needs and wants of who you're communicating with, and also intention in your communication, having clear intention, right? That brings me to number 2. Number 2 is one of the most important parts of, if any of you ever wanted to learn sales and wanted to get great at sales, that's what I do best out of anything else. I've worked in over 7 different industries in sales. I've helped generate over $56 million in revenue for my clients and people I've partnered with just in the last 3 years. And I've done sales in anything from the fitness industry to the auto industry to the telecommunication space to the healthcare and medical space and so on and so on. And nowadays I'm exposed to all kinds of industries from all around the world with the clients that I work with and who I'm exposed to. So if you guys want to learn sales and I just had to pass on one thing to you, it would be point number 2 here. And point number 2 is asking the right questions. If you guys can just grasp this and understand this, it will be a complete game changer for you when it comes to communication. So a lot of communication comes down to asking the right questions, making sure communication is 2-way. So making sure the person on the other end actually received, they grasped your question, they understood it, and also making sure that you get an answer to your question that you're asking. So those are all your responsibilities. Those three pieces of asking the right questions are all your responsibilities. What most people see it as is, I'm going to ask a question. More often than not, it won't even be the right question. It'll just be any question. And whether they understand or receive it or not is completely on them. And whether they communicate or not is definitely on them. That's not my responsibility to have someone else communicate back to me. That's what the average person thinks. The average salesperson, the average public speaker, the average communicator, the average person walking around the streets day to day. If you want to give yourself a competitive advantage and distinguish yourself in professional and business settings, you just need to understand this. When you're asking the right questions, you have to make sure that you ask the right questions that are fit for that scenario. You're making sure that the other party is receiving those questions and understanding them and engaging with them. And thirdly, that they're responding back to you. They're communicating back to you. They're answering your questions. Those are all your responsibilities. And in sales, we call that fact finding. We call that qualifying. Those are some of the most important aspects of the sales process. In any business, you have a sales process, how you take a client from wherever you got that client from, the client acquisition side of things, which comes from marketing and branding. Then there's sales. So you're actually taking them through a process and selling that client. And then there's fulfillment. And then, of course, there's the back end of the business and things that you have to manage. But sales is a crucial aspect of that. And in any sales process, I call qualifying the second most important step. And qualifying is asking the right questions, making sure it's received, and making sure you receive an answer back. And just so you know, if anybody's wondering, the reason I call it a second most important step is because the most important step in sales is obviously closing the deal. Until the transaction has happened, nobody has gotten anything. There has been no exchange. Nobody got value. The economy was not helped. So it doesn't matter. The close is the most important step. But qualifying and asking the right questions is the second most important step. And if you wanted to get a short, 10-minute course on sales, there you go. Just asking the right questions, making sure it's received, and making sure people communicate the answers back to you. On that note, qualifying also gives you the arsenal to communicate in any different setting. So when you ask the right question, just think about what happens. Any ideas? I'll open this up to you guys. When you ask the right questions, what happens? Yeah, go ahead. I see somebody has raised their hand.
They will respond in the way we want them to.
Mm-hmm. They'll respond how we want them to.
That gives us hold on the conversation and the pace in which we want the conversation to move forward.
Yep, absolutely. They'll respond how we want them to. It'll move the conversation forward. I saw somebody else had something in here too. I believe there was a chat. Let me see here. You understand what they want? Yep. So you understand what they're looking for. You understand what they want. It moves the conversation forward. Absolutely. The word I was looking for was you get intel. You get information. You get data. So exactly what you guys said, just simply put, you get to gather data. You get to gather intel, gather information if you're asking the right questions and getting answers to your questions. What does that allow you to do? That gives you an arsenal to work with in moving the conversation forward, just like the gentleman just said, in moving the communication forward, in getting what you want out of this communication. If you have all the information, if you know what they're looking for, if you know what they want, if you know the needs and wants of both parties, if you know where the happy medium is and where you can stretch this to, if you know, for example, you're pitching an idea in a professional setting or in a business setting, and you're communicating your ideas, through asking the right questions and getting answers to your questions, you're going to understand which area of your pitch to focus on. You're going to understand where they're with you and where they're not with you. You're going to understand where you have agreement and where you have rapport built and where you don't, right? So asking the right questions and getting answers to those questions gives you the arsenal to work with. And that allows you to, as you both said, to move the communications forward, allows you to get what you want and understand what they need. And long story short, it gives you the arsenal to come to a conclusion on that communication. Which brings me to my third point. The third and final point is this. In any communications, especially in a professional setting and in a business setting, you want to expect a result. In any communication, you want to go in expecting a result. especially in a professional setting and in a business setting. Right? So what that means is you go in understanding what you're looking for. You go in understanding, I'll give you guys an example here just to make this very clear. I'm sure you guys have heard or are familiar with Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Berkshire Hathaway. Yes? Okay. So if you're not, if by any chance you haven't heard, maybe you've been living under a rock, whatever it might be, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are extremely successful investors. I believe Warren might be 91 or 92. Charlie might be 94 or so. I believe Warren's worth over $100 billion now in net worth. And Charlie, I believe, is a couple $1 billion net worth. And extremely wise people. And especially when it comes to their business acumen, there's a lot to be learned there. One thing that they always discuss is when they go into any kind of communication or any kind of negotiations with businesses that they're looking to acquire. So they're going in as the buyers and they're looking to acquire this entire business under the umbrella of Berkshire Hathaway. When they're looking for that, Warren Buffett has famously said, they always know exactly what they expect. They have the terms and figures and the numbers they're willing to do business on in mind. And what they do that distinguishes them from everybody else is they're set on what they're willing to do, and that's it. They go in with a clear intention. So when they go into a negotiation or a communication, they go in expecting exactly what they want. And if that doesn't happen, then it's totally fine. There will be no deal. But they're not willing to compromise. They expect a result and they know the result they're looking for, which is the second aspect of that. You can't expect a result if you don't know what the exact result is that you're looking for. So that's something that I've learned from Warren Buffett and these guys. And what that does for you in any negotiation, in any communication, when you know exactly what you're looking for and you expect that result, that then allows you to have the other person or the other party's respect because you have an expectation, you have a standard, you know exactly the result and outcome you're looking for. And that allows the whole communication to be a lot more transparent, a lot more genuine and authentic, and a lot more straightforward. So back to number 3, I just wanted to use that example and analogy to really make this point make sense to you guys. You want to expect a result. And the whole point of any kind of communication cycle going back and forth between two people or between a party or between a group in your personal life, in your relationships, in your professional settings, in a business setting, in any kind of communication, the end goal is to reach a conclusion. Ideally, a conclusion that's a win-win, that's mutually beneficial. Right? So, of course, with point number 3, you want to expect a result. You want to know the result that you expect in advance. And you want to reach a conclusion because that was the point of the entire communication. And like I said, a belief that I have when it comes to sales and when it comes to business is if a conclusion is not reached, then we just wasted everybody's time. And you have to have that belief, going back to point number 1, with absolute conviction. So going into any communication, if there was no conclusion reached, we wasted everybody's time. The only time this has been valuable is when a conclusion is reached, when there's a transaction happening, an exchange of value, whatever that might be. So point number 3 is around ultimately reaching a conclusion. So I'll go over the 3 again really quick. Number 1 was confidence and conviction in communication. Number 2 was asking the right questions. And like I said, this one is extremely important. I would prioritize this, highlight it, understand it, and just understand this one concept that communication is two-way and it's you taking responsibility for communicating something, making sure that person or that other party understood it, and then making sure they communicate something back to you in order for you to get the answers you're looking for and move the process forward. And that brings me to my final point, which is expecting a result and a conclusion out of any kind of communication, especially in a professional and business setting. So those are my 3 points for you. I wanted to keep it very tight and high level and keep it concise, but at the same time, bring you guys value and information. So what I want to do now is I have roughly 5 or 10 minutes. I do have another call, another meeting that's going to be 2 hours right after this. So I have to join in there, but I have another 5-10 minutes or so for you guys. And I wanted to open it up to questions. I'd love to answer any questions, anything you guys have on any aspect of this, and we can move it forward. And if you don't mind, Arushi, if you want to read me the questions, or if you have any questions, then I'd love to address that.
Yeah, sure. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat box. Thank you, Rishikesh, for the summary. Any tips for figuring out how to ask the right questions?
Yeah. So I have a lot of tips for that. Like I said, that's qualifying and fact finding when it comes to sales is one of the most important parts of sales. I personally have a sales university platform. That's a training platform, which has a ton of video content and modules and trainings and whatnot in there from A to Z of communication, and that's one aspect of it. To give you a simple answer, when it comes to asking the right questions, it goes back to understanding, first of all, what this setting is, what the context is. So are we in a professional setting? Are you talking about you being in a sales process and selling a product or a service? Or are you talking about you asking your teacher the right questions? Or are we talking about you, being in a pitch, in a job interview, asking the right questions there to let them know, your level of experience, expertise, knowledge, whatnot. So it really depends. But I would say your questions have to be relevant, of course, to the topic and to what's happening. So making sure that it's relevant to the context of the communication. So you don't want to just throw random questions left and right in the middle of a conversation, because then it's unnatural, it's not genuine, and it's probably going to disrupt the flow of the communication. So asking questions that are relevant to the context, asking questions where the right answer will actually get you somewhere. The right answer will actually move the communication forward. So if you can think almost a couple of steps ahead of time and ask the right questions in a way where the answer will help you move the communication forward, those are the questions you want to ask. And normally, just to give you a quick tip, a lot of sales professionals would know this, you don't want to ask open-ended questions, and you don't want to ask questions where it's an easy yes or no answer, because then it's a dead end. If you ask me a question and I say no, where do you go from here? Right? It's on you again to regenerate the flow of that conversation. If you ask me a question and I say yes, it's still not what you're looking for. So you want to ask appropriately structured questions that will move the flow of the communication forward. I hope that helps. Arushi, I believe you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yes, sorry. Next question is what is the main difference between general communication and professional communication?
What was the first thing? General communication?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, there are a few differences. The reality is in your question. I mean, the answer really is in your question, which is communication, and being a high-level effective communicator is a necessity in all areas of life. And this is why this is a skill you guys need to master. When it comes to, you're with your partner, you're with your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, husband, wife, whatever it might be, right? And you want to watch a movie, and one of you wants to watch one movie, the other one wants to watch a different movie. That's communication. That's sales. If you want to get your idea across and you want to ask the right questions of why they want to watch this movie, you want to speak with confidence and conviction, you want to reach a conclusion, expect a result, all of these things go into that same scenario. So communication in personal and relationships and day-to-day life is extremely important. A lot of people don't have the abilities to do that. So when you can communicate effectively, you just have an advantage. You have a competitive advantage in day-to-day life, let alone in professional settings or business. In professional settings or business, I mean, being a high-level communicator is a necessity. Like I said, not every great communicator is a great leader, but every great leader is a great communicator. So if you're looking to move up in business, if you're looking to get yourself into great roles and executive positions, if you're looking to become a shareholder, board member in companies, if you're looking to run your own business, if you're looking to hire people, train people, manage people, I've done everything I just mentioned. I can tell you from personal experience, communication is absolutely necessary.
Our next question is from Rishikesh. I run a small business. We currently don't have a dedicated marketing/sales team. What would be the first step or the most important thing that we should ideally take to identify and build this very important function?
To build out your marketing and sales team?
Yeah.
Is that the question? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, here, I'll give you an overarching answer and I'll give you a more detailed answer. So the reality is, like I said, every business has those four elements that I discussed earlier. The number one is the marketing and the branding. That's how you get in front of people. That's how people know you. If nobody knows your name, your business, your product, your service that you provide, nobody will do business with you. It's as simple as that. You merely do not exist to people that don't know you. So it's marketing and branding to get yourself in front of people. That's one out of the four. Number two is sales. Sales is what brings in the revenue. Sales is what brings in the clients, what brings in the money. Sales is the cash flow of the business. Sales is what keeps the business running so you can reinvest that money into marketing, branding, and everything else, right? Sales is the bloodline of your business. That's why, to me, it's always been the most important aspect of business. I knew that. That's why I got into sales at a very young age, because I knew if you're in sales and on the revenue generation side of the business, you can work your way up. You have a lot of control over the business. So sales is very important. That's number 2. Number 3 is fulfillment on your product or your service in your small business. How are you fulfilling that product? How are you servicing your customers' needs? How are you following up with your customers to make sure you're always over delivering, right? One of the things that it's a very easy thing to do, but most business owners don't do, is just look for ways you can over deliver, give more than you take. If you simply do that, you're going to have a good relationship over the long term with your clients and in business in general. And the 4th thing is the back end of your business. So having an accounting system set up for your business, knowing where every single dollar goes, knowing how to reinvest it, knowing how to structure your business, what the business model looks like. So the back end of the business is very important. So first things first, to the person who asked that question with the small business, you have to understand those 4 elements and have a plan for each of them in your business. And when it comes to setting up a sales and marketing team for yourself, it really depends. In business, you just don't have enough time to do everything. And the reality is you're not good enough to do everything. So a lot of things you want to outsource, you want to delegate. If you have a business, sooner or later, you want to either raise capital or close deals and land clients and generate the capital to be able to then delegate. So when it comes to marketing, branding, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, some of my own peers and friends, including myself, outsource the graphic design, the video editing, the marketing aspect of things, for example. When it comes to sales, if you're the salesperson, if you're a solopreneur, which sounds like you are right now, and you're the one running the entire business, you can only scale that to the limit of your own time. How you buy time, how you multiply your time is by hiring out. You hire 2 more salespeople in that same week. Now you've tripled your output. You've tripled the work, right? So the only way you can really get the results, grow the business, scale, is by bringing on salespeople and hiring sales teams and ideally building a team inside. You can always work with companies that do outsource sales. That's what I used to do, so I can speak on that. But ideally, you want to build a team inside, especially with a small business. Just bring on one salesperson or one person to handle that aspect of the business, and you're going to be well off and much further ahead. So yeah, the reality is you're going to either need to outsource that or build the team within your business. It really depends on where you're at with your business. It depends on the capital you need. If you don't have the funds to do that right now, a tip I'll give you is with salespeople, a lot of times you can hire them on commission only and incentivize them with closing deals, and they get paid and win when you win and when the business wins. So that way you don't need to pay salaries and things like that up front. So that's an idea. But yes, I would look at all the roles that you're not great at. That's not your natural inclinations. I would look to outsource those and to delegate those to others. And the things that you do well, I would focus on. And that's to the extent that you can hire out and delegate, is to the extent that you can scale your business.
Thank you so much. That was it. Thank you so much for your very informative webinar today and sharing an insight on the working culture and people. I look forward to trying and implementing these. And
Absolutely.
I'll put all your social media in the chat so these guys can check out your work. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure. Appreciate all your time. And I hope you guys all got some tangible value out of that. And if anybody here wants to reach out on social media, I'll make sure my team sees it. Just mention you were from this talk and from this group, and I'll make sure that I personally chat with you and answer any questions that you have. And I'd be more than happy to bring you value moving forward as well. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So that brings us to the end of the first part of the event. We do have a movie night. I'll send you guys the link. I guess it's at 9 p.m. today. Do join that for this fun. And thank you so much for joining in today. Do you have anything to add, Rish?
Just wanted to request to reshare the social media links for both.
Yeah. I will.
Like, did you guys reach out personally for both the speakers to come and speak?
Ratna reached out to both of them. Ratna has worked with Mr. Nishant before, but Pouya, we just contacted him on social media and he agreed to conduct this webinar for us.
For that, we can, I guess, stop the YouTube live streaming like this. And
I will share all of this on WhatsApp, don't worry.
Overall, the event was amazing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. That's so